Welcome to the Coach Dave Love podcast mini pods, which I'm tentatively titling Fourth Quarter Rally, where we put 12 minutes up on the clock and we need to bang out a topic by the time that time expires because the record button goes as soon as that time is done. Coach Dave, what's going on?
What's going on, Matt? Excited for this one. This one should be fun. We're trying something a little bit different that I think will be like maybe not our most shooting learning, but like give people a little glimpse behind the curtain.
So this one is of personal interest to me because I am an NBA fan nerd combination of the highest order, I think. And so, Coach Dave, every year around this time of year, yes, the NBA finals are happening, but also alongside this, everyone's getting ready for the draft. I realize that you cannot talk specifics, and so I will steer you away from that, as the great Jalen Rose would say. Don't get fired. But I do want some information, and I'm going to ask you some questions about pre-draft workouts, kind of preparing for the draft. Can we talk about that?
Absolutely. So, I'll preface it by saying every team does this differently, and then each team does it differently depending on where they're drafting. And so we can talk a little bit about what this looks like, and because I don't think the average fan has much of an idea.
And also, you have worked for a variety of teams in these pre-draft settings, and so therefore you are talking about this in general terms only for generally this is what it looks like for teams, correct?
Yeah, and I'm going to probably not refer to which team, but let's remember the Cleveland Cavaliers was 10 years ago. There's hardly anybody that works for the Cleveland Cavaliers now that worked for the Cleveland Cavaliers then. And so the way they do it, I guarantee will be complete. So don't go saying like, oh, Dave Love said the Cavaliers do this. No, we did some of that in 2013.
What was I doing in 2013? I don't want to even talk about that. Okay, Coach Dave, so you're bringing guys in for pre-draft workouts. Would these have been guys that were at the Combine in Chicago?
Yeah, for the most part. So usually the draft combine, at least over the last few years, I think they're trying to change this, but some of the higher picks have kind of skipped the combine or will do like interviews only or individual testing only. Like they try and avoid stuff that might not shine well on them, especially when it's a small sample size. The NBA is trying to move away from that and trying to say, like, no, if you're coming to the combine, you're doing things at the combine, but it's a bit of a tug of war. So I think there's usually about 70 players at the combine now. A lot of those will make a tour around to as many as like 20 different NBA teams. And they'll spend a day or a half day with effectively a workout and an interview with that team, where the team is just trying to grill for as much information as they can about who this person is, what kind of what kind of person are you? Are we willing to invest millions of dollars in you, more so than just the player? And then what can we learn about you as a player that we might not be able to see from your game video?
It's a super fun thing, and I understand why the NBA is trying to make it a little more uniform. It just makes sense. But part of the like palace intrigue that's happening where the agent's like, all right, you're going to go to the combine and you're going to do vertical leap only, or you're doing 3-cone shuttle only, because that's where you're going to look best. And this year in particular, where the top of the draft is so wide open, I can't decide whether it makes more sense for someone to go and potentially blow people away or go and be like, oh, you looked worse than you did, but does it matter? The palace intrigue of all that is super fun for me. And I know we're talking more about the pre-draft workouts on the team sort of individual side of things, but that's just a fun little thing. So let's say you're working for a team. We bring in a group. So during this stretch, you're one of the 20 teams that guys are going to for pre-draft workouts. Are we doing group workouts? Like, how big are the groups?
Typically, there's there's really two categories. So, and this isn't set in stone, but this is the bulk by far. There's either going to be an individual workout, which I believe is pretty much reserved for high lottery picks. That you're getting an individual workout for somebody that's like a projected top pick in the draft. If you're projected to be 27, you're not getting an individual workout. People outside the lottery, and definitely people projected second round picks, they're going to be 6-person workouts for the most part. And so the guys come in and they'll do some physical testing similar to the combine testing, or if not identical to the combine testing, for the team, and then usually an hour or hour and a half on court. What they do on court can vary dramatically from team to team. I've seen teams that really highlight the how in shape are you? How competitive are you? And all the drills are just, we're going to see if we can exhaust you. And we're going to see if we're going to stack all the odds against you and see how hard you fight. To teams that, like, one of the more creative, weird little things that our team did that I've been involved with was they had everybody take a hard pound dribble and just see, like, can you palm the ball off the hard pound dribble. The team valued length and thought that having massive hands was a big advantage. And so they wanted to just see, like, does somebody have the ability to wave the ball around like a golf ball? And so to teams that will play a bunch of like small sided game 3-on-3s in their workout, like, they can vary a ton.
Is there anything that's kind of off limits in these workouts where, like, someone will come in and be like, I'm not willing to play one-on-one or whatever it is? Or are these pretty open to whatever the team wants to do?
Yeah, there will be agents that will try to put restrictions on, and in some cases will win. And I think teams try to organize it where you're not going to have necessarily 5 guards and a big, that they're going to try and have. If they've got a big, they're going to try and have 2 bigs, so that those guys can match up against each other. And I'm sure there's a lot that goes on behind the curtains in the front office on how they organize that, which is information I'm not usually not privy to. And I guess that's sort of like the interesting thing is, like, for a coach, like, this information isn't necessarily like out there and accessible. You just kind of, how does this team run it? What do they value? What are the rule? How? And it's not like here's the rule book for pre-draft workouts. Here's what we're allowed to do and what we're not. You kind of figure it out.
Back to the podcast niche. How often do people do spot shooting in these things?
Well, about 15 years ago, one of the teams put together the team name 100.
Okay.
And so it's standardized 100 3-point shots, and now every team does their version of it, and most of them end up being very, very similar. So this really isn't company secrets. I'll share what this really can look like. Almost all teams, from what I've seen, will do like 5 shots from 5 spots. So you got 25 threes where it's like 5 from the corner, 5 from the wing, 5 from the top. Then some with movement, some out of the pick and roll, either as a ball handler or pick and pop, I should say, or the big popping. And then some in transition, and just in different combinations, although very, very similar from team to team. They'll put together their 100 and get the data set of how many did they make, and usually, just to give fans a frame of reference, a good score will be in the 70s. a lot of guys are in low 60s. If you're in the low 50s or below, that's not a great sign for you.
Shout out Nick Stauskas. I'm sure he's still playing somewhere in the world, but his pre-draft performance kind of legendary. He shot 90. He hit 90 odd shots in his pre-draft workouts when he was leaving Michigan. Michigan. I think it's Michigan.
Yeah.
Anyway, terrific stuff. Okay, real quick, last thing I want to ask: what is the like social and professional dynamic in these workouts? Like, I think it's a kind of a fascinating thing.
It's a choreographed dance. I described it to you before as a choreographed dance of deception, where agents have taught players what's probably going to be asked and how they should answer the question. We know that agents have taught players how to answer questions, and so we're trying to trick the player by wording the question differently so that you try to get an honest answer. Everybody comes in the gym and does like what they think is great form shooting to show like I prepare every day, and largely it's choreographed dance of deception.
Truly Zoolander breakdance fighting. Everyone's trying to do the thing. It's really great. Coach Dave, 11 and a half minutes. Let's start to wrap it up. This has been a delight as always. Where can the people find you online?
Best places, Instagram and Twitter, Coach Dave Love, and on my free newsletter, CoachDaveLove.com.
You can find me at Coach Matty Rob on X. I love how the pace kind of picks up a little bit more as the closer we get to the end. But these are a lot of fun and sometimes unhinged and sometimes actually useful. So thanks for tuning in, sticking with us, and we'll see you again on Tuesday. See you next week.